Yeah, she's great people. All right. All right. We live. They say we are live. I am. I'm live. I'm alive. Councilman Steve, you alive.
I am.
We're here. We're here. We're alive. And so, ladies and gentlemen, I am Michael Bell. I'm the CEO of Community Based Connection. And I welcome you this morning as we join the C suite with leaders from across the nation that's making a significant impact in our community, whether it be the private sector, elected office, where they are lawyers or judges, whatever the case may be. But today we have a special guest, and that guest is none other than Councilman Robert Stevens. Ladies and gentlemen, let me just tell you a little bit about Councilman Stevens. He's a South Florida faith leader, change agent, and educator. He attended Miami-Dade College North Campus, where he was employed with the college for 6 years. Currently, Councilman Stevens is employed with Barry University Biomedical Science Program, where he continues to assist students in pursuing their post-secondary educational goals and provide them with support to provide support to faculty. Appointed to Miami Gardens City Council in September of 2020 and elected in August of 2022 to represent Miami Gardens seat 6 at large. Ladies and gentlemen, please give it up for Councilman Robert Stevens. Doc, it is great for you to be here with us. It is great for you to raise up this morning and get on this 8 o'clock call with us. How are you feeling this morning?
I feel good. I feel good. Any day above ground is a blessing.
Absolutely.
And I've been up since 5 o'clock. I normally get my day started. Now, I don't normally have, interviews or meetings before 9. So it's going to take me a little longer than expected to get fully going. But I'm glad to be here. I'm glad to be a part of the conversation and just share what's happening. So I'm glad to be here.
Awesome, awesome, awesome. Listen, for those who just joining us, we have the compliment here from the great city of Miami Gardens. Uh, tell you, Miami Gardens is one of the largest black cities in the United States of America, right? And so I always say, I love going there, especially the food is wonderful down there in the city of Miami Gardens. I'm a bit of a foodie, but Councilman Stevens, you do a lot of great things for the community down there in Miami Gardens. You know, I am aware of the work that you've been doing faithfully from when you was appointed to when you get elected. But every day we show up with ourselves, right? And we got to ask ourselves, what's our why? And that's my question to you this morning to start us off. What's your why? Like, why is service was on the top of your list of things to do? Because I'm sure you can do anything else.
Yeah.
Your commitment to service have been real.
Yeah, and my why is just that simple: service to others. I grew up in a faith-based family. My parents, my grandparents, everybody around me was very active in the church, from being bishops to associate ministers, and the list goes on. So my life, from when I was a young kid, was exposed to serving others, being the
Mhm.
voice for others, and ensuring that there was benefits and quality resources available to others. So I believe my calling on this earth is service. I grew up in the era where church wasn't an option. And in fact, your entire day, your entire week was centered.
Entire week with church.
Yeah, you started off on Sunday morning with worship at least 2-3 times a day. Then on Tuesday you had choir rehearsal. Wednesday was Bible study. Thursday was youth mission. Saturday, and if it was depending on if it was the summer or not, Friday you may have a Friday night youth explosion, and then
Right.
Saturday you had to go to do something service wise, whether it was
Right.
visiting the sick and shut in, feeding the homeless. And it was in those moments that I realized that
Mm,
our life is not our own. And we're not here just for ourselves. We're here to be a blessing to other people. We're
mhm,
here to ensure that we all climb up and we all get what we need. And growing up here in Miami Gardens, born and raised, when I decided to run for office, I was running because of the area in which I grew up in was an area that I had deemed as an area that had gone unnoticed. And I
mm.
said, I'm going to be the one to bring the light to this dark area to ensure that the voices of this residential seat at the time, because when I decided to throw my head in the race, I was running for a residential seat. But then God had fit appointed me to an at-large seat, and I began representing the entire city. But it was based off the needs in that community. So my why is literally service. I believe that my mission, I believe my life calling, I believe my duty is to be of service to other people because there's
Absolutely.
so much for us to do, and it's going to take somebody to stand up and take the lead on it.
Councilman, that is so impactful. Your commitment to your life service, and you speak a little bit about, you identify the community, and that what you saw darkness, you say, hey, we need light, we need love, right? And so when I think about that, and at that time, a young gentleman like yourself, what do you say to other um, younger generation who wants to become more involved in their community or local government? What do you say to
Yeah.
them?
Do it. It's there is enough room at the table for all of us.
Hmm.
There is a seat at the table for all of us, and if we continue to sit on the side and watch this, to accomplish the goal and the mission of creating a better society and improving the quality of life for for the communities in which we live in, it's going to take all of us to get in the game. It's going to take all of us to come and see, have a seat at the table. We're living in a time where time out for everyone to stand on the sidelines and spectate on what they think we should be doing. It's time for everybody to get in the game on the field and run plays. Even if you don't hear the quarterback, even if you don't hear what the coach is
Absolutely.
saying, you need to just put a presence on the field so that we can scare the enemy, that we're a large force to be reckoned with. And that's something of the model that we have here in Miami Gardens. We're all on the field. We're all coming together. We may not agree on everything. We may
Absolutely.
not shake hands, but on everything at every moment. But at the end of the day, we understand that there's a greater assignment and there's a greater picture that we need to accomplish, and it's going to require everybody to get off the sideline, get on the field, and get in the game. So for the younger generation or that individual that want to run for office, that want to serve, there's no late or no earlier time than to do it right now. Get in and do it now, and get connected. Get connected with servant leaders that you identify with, people that have a like-minded spirit like yours or mind like you and what you desire. Connect with them, learn from them. Don't be too big that you can't. I want to say it. I can't remember. Is don't be too big that you can't follow, because if you too big to follow, then you too small to lead.
Right.
And that's what you want to make sure that you do. You want to get in there and you want to lead. You want to you want to follow. You want to learn. But most importantly, the bigger picture is so that you can spread the service to you, the community in which you desire to lead.
For those who just joined us, we here this morning in the C-suite with Councilman Stevens, and those who are from the city of Miami Gardens and tuning in on Councilman Stevens' page. Listen, I got to tell you, community-based connection have been in our community for over 12 years and have been doing impact work, changing lives, changing communities every day. And so we're happy today that we're able to share county line with our very own councilman from the great city of Miami Gardens. Look, Councilman Stevens, I just got to put this out there. Since becoming an elected official, what are some of the greatest lessons you learned as a councilman? Because I think sometimes people get in and say to themselves like, "Oh, this is what's going on, and I got this, and now everything is perfect." And there's this false notion, and you kind of alluded to the earlier. Look, we may not always agree,
Yeah.
but we have one goal, right? So, talk to me a little bit about, since becoming an elected official, what's that greatest lesson you have learned in the process so far?
Um, a few things. See, we talked about Miami Gardens being one of the largest black cities in the country. It's the largest black city in the state of Florida. We're the largest predominantly black in the state of Florida. We actually we like to say that we're the Harlems of the South.
Mm.
It don't get no blacker than Miami Gardens. Uh, but I said that to say, so often in communities that look like the community in which I serve, we are we are we fall the government and community partners and in the private and public sector. They
Mm.
don't give us much attention. They don't give us the resources that we need, that they give to the individuals that don't look like you and I. And as a policymaker for the largest black city in the state of Florida, that happens to have one of the largest entertainment venues in my backyard, which is the Hard Rock Stadium, that
Mm.
we're constantly welcoming world-class international events in our city. One of the things that I've learned is don't leave anything on the table. Put it all
Uh,
out.
Man, say that again. Say
What
it for the people in the back.
you can't leave, don't get up from that table without putting it all. You got to put it all out there,
Right,
because it is so important that we demand people. My grandfather used to tell us, you treat people how to teach you teach people how to treat you.
right.
And if you allow people to come in your community and treat you any kind of way, you're gonna get any kind of thing. But
Mm.
when you sit there and you say, no, we may be a black community, but we want the same respect that you give every other community throughout this state, throughout this nation. We want this, we're demanding it. And in fact, we want to be respected a little bit higher than what you do in average communities.
Mm.
Oh, and that's one of the things that I learned is that you can't hold back. Nothing is insane. The worst thing that they can do is tell you no. And anybody encounter me, no, you can't tell me no. You got to tell me you may not agree with it doing the way that I originally proposed, but you're gonna think of another way to get it done.
Right, right, right.
Because I got real issues in my community. I got issues with individuals trying to find affordable housing, because the housing crisis in this nation is through the roof. I got individuals that need assistance with going back to school and getting a higher degree because they can't afford the education in this country. I got issues with individuals that's having mental health issues but don't have health insurance to go and get assistance to go
Right,
and see a
right,
therapist. So right now we
right.
telling them ain't nothing wrong with you, go to sleep, and then 2 days later we try to figure out why they behind a police car. I mean, in the back of a police car with handcuffs on, because we ain't paying attention to their needs. So while y'all around here trying to come in my community and benefit from what my community has to offer, I want to
Mm.
sit down at the table and talk about what I need from you to ensure that the residents of this city has the necessary resources to survive. I ran my campaign on creating life-sustaining resources, and that's what we're gonna do.
Man, listen. Man, listen. You almost made me jump out of my bed and started shouting because no, but listen. This is look. If we don't talk about nothing else, I
Yeah,
think this is a great place to put a stop sign at,
yeah,
because
yeah,
oftentimes black and brown community, particularly black communities,
yep,
are fighting from a place of being disadvantaged,
yep,
right? Are fighting from behind, right? Every day that I show up, I realize I'm not just showing up for Michael Bell. I'm
right.
not just showing up for my wife and kids. I'm not sure, but I'm showing up for little Johnny down the street,
That's right.
right? I'm showing up for Miss Brown around the corner, who knows everybody's name in the community,
That's right.
right? Who I'm showing up for, right, is for Mr. Blue, right? Who I know he worked. He's about 70 years old and he's
Yep,
still working, trying to figure out what his retirement looked like, right? And so often people are needing support. People are needing policies that make sense from a culture perspective, from a humanistic
That's
perspective,
right.
right? But also from a love perspective.
Yeah. Yeah.
People have the tendency, to create policies for their own selfish reason while a group will
Yeah.
suffer.
Yeah.
And so
And
I just appreciate you saying that and running your campaign off that. Look, I know for some folks, they may think this is the first time we seeing each other on the C-suite, and this is the first time we engaging.
right.
But we have these conversations regularly,
That's right.
and how that look for our community. So here's the thing, and here's what I want to dive a little bit deeper,
Yeah.
because something in your life had a click
Yeah.
for you to take such position. What was that?
Yeah. I couldn't understand that we are in the late 2000s, 2021, 2020, 2023, and we still talking about healthcare for all. We're still talking about making sure that Big Mun down the street, who gave her life to educating people as a teacher for 30 years, is now on a fixed income, but don't have enough money to go and get her diabetes medicine. And then we got all these major corporations in our backyard that we visit frequently that can't create systems to pour back into the community. I couldn't understand why we're sitting here trying to rob Peter to pay Paul 20 years down the line, when you got all of these major businesses that want to come and develop in our community. They want to bring their businesses to our communities, but they're not catering to our communities and realizing what the benefits that they have while being in our communities. So my why was sitting down, what clicked to me and went back to my why is that I got tired of us, the Black and brown community, suffering. And I'm still tired of it. I ain't get over it yet. That's why I decided to run for office, because we ain't get what we deserve yet. And until we get what we deserve, I believe I'm still be here on this earth fighting. And as the great Congressman, the great late Congressman John Lewis said, I'm gonna get in some good trouble, and I'm gonna make some people mad, because at the end of the day, you got to teach people how to treat you. And if we gonna remain silent when you know Big Ma, Miss Johnson on 27th Avenue and 167th is suffering, when you know little Johnny ain't in a stable home because his parents is not stable to raise him, so he going to grandma's house, who grandma is barely holding on. She got all kind of medical conditions, can't afford to buy her medicine, but we ain't got no wraparound programs, because we not supporting the non-for-profit organizations that's doing the work every single day. We not supporting our educational school systems, because we're taking resources out of them daily to cater to the private sector. When we have those issues at the forefront and ain't nobody addressing them, we got a problem. So serving office, getting in office is far greater than my assignment. I didn't have to do it. I have a career. I have benefits. I'm good. I'm a single man with no kids. I ain't got to do it. I can survive. I'm gonna be all right. But I realize,
but it's bigger than you.
This is bigger than me. I realize that there is work, and we every election, there's on a federal, to a state, to a municipal, or a county, whatever you want to call it, there's a group of us. I got to say us because I'm a part of the political sector. There's a group of us that come up, and we got these brilliant plans, and we say we gonna do this when we get in office. And then if you encounter, like I did with my city attorney looked at me and said, no, you can't do that. That's not law. You can't do that. You can't do that. And then I started going with, well, I can't do it, so show me what I can do. And how are we gonna do this?
Wait. I gotta pause you there. I gotta pause you there, because I think that's a very critical teachable moment for new electeds, right? Because oftentimes they do have city attorneys, county attorneys, and administrators who would say, well, you can't do that. So I think you, in your punchline, well, tell me what I can do. Why is that important?
Yeah,
because I think sometimes you got me getting excited. I think sometimes you get so caught up in what
Yeah.
people tell you what you can't do.
Yeah.
We have yet to stop and say, well, tell me what I can do and how can I do it?
Because at the end of the day, what I'm telling you is the issues of this community. I was elected to address the issues of this community. I was elected to do two things. One is to ensure that there's municipal services for the community. So that's your police department, public works, park and recreation, creating policies that governs the land. And then two, addressing the issues. Everything that I do, every policy that I create is to address the issue. So when you are forced with what you can't do, you got to be bold enough to say,
Yeah.
what can I do? And how can I do what it is that I'm bringing to your attention that you're telling me I can't do? So in other words, I ain't trying to hear it. I ain't trying to hear it.
Right.
All I care about is how we getting ready to create a benefit plan to
Right.
help Miss Johnson get her medicine at the first of the month. She taught all kids. Everybody know Miss Johnson from Parkway Elementary School. She don't taught everybody in your family for
Right.
30 plus years, and now she's sent home and can barely take her insulin because she got a light bill that FPL keep going up on, and this running this dictatorship at the FPL. She trying to put food in the refrigerator because she got a fixed income. She can't get a food stamps because the government system on the state level, they doing whatever they want to do to pocket. That's another story. So I want to know how I'm going to help my community thrive. The
Right.
Harlem of the South. How are we going to keep the educators, the lawyers, the doctors? How are we going to keep this community being a Black thriving community? And let's start with the corporations that's in our city. Everybody go to Walmart. We don't want book bags, Walmart. We don't want pencils. We don't want crayons to contribute to our back to school giveaway.
Right.
We
Right.
want
Right.
a percentage of your tax dollars to create programming for rehabilitation homes for our seniors. We need a percentage of your money to create a support system for mental health awareness. We don't need you to give us no food vouchers. We can do that on our own. We got Black-owned businesses, and we don't got so smart. We've always been smart, but now we growing our own food in our backyard. So
Right.
the truth of the matter
Come
is,
on.
we ain't gonna be hungry. We know how to make it work. We
Right.
need money. Walmart, Publix, we need y'all to come give us some money. And this is how you got to have elect people that will speak what the people need. Put people in office that is going to address the issues of your community. See, you can't be an elected official and don't know the community in which you serve. You can't do it. It's
Listen.
impossible. It's impossible.
Wait. I got to do a commercial. I got to do a commercial. This is a good time to do it because I think, hold on to that thought because I want us to dive into that. And I know I got some questions, but man,
Yeah.
I feel like we rolling authentically.
I
And
agree.
I prefer that on any given day, twice on Sundays, right? But for those who just joining us, we're here with Councilman for the great city of Miami Garden, Councilman Robert Stevens. And I'll tell y'all, we are having a courageous conversation about our community, the impacts in our community. And for those who's coming from the great city of Miami Gardens, tuning in to hear about community-based connection. On any given day, community-based connection touch over 500 families. But most importantly, we have kinship services, mental health services. We have early childhood education services. We have fatherhood services. And our fatherhood service have been thriving just as much as all our other services. And I got to tell you this, Councilman Steve, we took 30 fathers, and we took out of those 30 fathers, we not only empowered them, but we helped them get jobs. We helped them get custody of their kids because some of them did not have custody. We helped them, obtain their social security card because some of them didn't have that. Some of them didn't have bank accounts. We was able to help them open up bank accounts. So our services here at Community Based Connection, look, is not just for Broward, but we happen to expand down to Miami and West Palm Beach and up to West Palm Beach. And I got to give a shout out to some of our funders, United Way of Broward County, Children's Service Council of Broward County, ChildNet, Jim Moran Foundation, A.D. Henderson, Broward County Human Service Department, and so much more. Drop some of them later. But listen, thank you all for supporting CBCI and what we do in our great community and how we continue to advocate and create how we continue to advocate and transition and transform lives every day. So thank you all for that. Listen, Councilman, you dropped a nugget, and I just can't let you just drop it and walk away. Right? Talk to me about knowing that community you serve, because again, from where I sit, I have to know who to go talk to, which door I need to knock on, right? I have to know if Miss Jones is doing this and Mr. Robbins is doing this, who I need to go get, who the third person I need to go get to say, okay, let's sit all four of us down and have a
Yeah,
conversation. You know, there's a reality in knowing, really and truly knowing your community, because sometimes those who don't look like us that represent our community from elected officialship, they're like, oh no, we just can serve food and we'll be fine. We can just give food, because you know mentioned Walmart, but we got elected official that does that as well,
yeah,
right?
yeah,
And so how do we say to all of them, know the community you serve in? Because when you serve, when you authentically serve, right?
yeah,
That means ain't no hidden agendas. When you authentically serve, right? That means you're doing it with love and you have a true appreciation for the people who have elected you,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
So why is it important to know your community?
You know, it's you, knowing your community is identifying with your why. When you know your community, you understand why you're in this position. You cannot address the issues of a community that you don't know, because you won't know what the issues are. And it's so important that you understand that what you do, what the services that you create or that you lead, is paired with understanding and identifying the community. So if you're going to come in and you want to do food distributions monthly, make sure your community is lacking with food. Because
Right,
I'm a strong believer on everything that you do has to be intentional. It got to be
right.
intentional, and it has to make sense. If it ain't making sense, then we don't need to be doing it. My median income in this black and brown community is $55,000. This is a thriving community. We don't have no subsidized HUD housing in the
Mm,
24 square miles of Miami Gardens. This is a black thrive. We're the Harlem of the night. We've always been when it was Care City. A food distribution is not what my people are standing in the need of. They got food in their refrigerators, and the little percentage that don't, we got food pantries for. But what I can tell you is that the rent and the mortgage and the insurance and revitalizing homes that they brought back in the 60s and the 70s, these are what the
mm,
essentials assistance programs ought to look like. And you have to be able to cater to those things, because what happens is when you don't, you open up room for people that don't know your community to move in your community and transition your community.
right.
And then you want to, then we start screaming gentrification. No, gentrification ain't just happened on its own. We allowed it to come in when we refused to help one another. See, there ought to be a strong system. I'm a former non-for-profit leader. There ought to be, we the government can't do it all. But when
Right.
you got a community-based connection organization that got boots on the ground, that's doing the work every single day, support shouldn't be a beg. It should be easy to receive.
Come on
When
now.
you
Now
have,
I'm gonna stop you. Look. Let me just take out my cup. I'll take an offer right here. This is a good time for me
it
to
should
say,
be,
go ahead. Visit
it
our
should be
website,
easy.
communitybased connection.com.
When you got organizations that has boots on the ground, because what happens is when you support your non-for-profit organizations to do the social
Absolutely.
services work on on the ground, you're now reducing the crime rate in your community. You're now
Mm,
improving the quality of life. You're educating your community. And when you have an educated community, you have a lasting and a thriving community. Don't relocate my people elsewhere. I could have
Right.
moved and lived anywhere. My profession that I'm in higher ed, I can go find a job at any college or university in the United States of America, or even go outside of the country. But I want it to be right here in my backyard, in my community, where when I walk out the house, I'm smelling collard greens and neck bones in the morning. I'm I want to be with the culture. I want to be in the
Right.
environment. I want to be able to pull up the Lorners and know I can get me a good Caribbean dish and then go home and be good about it. And I
Right.
want to be indulged in the Black excellence that Miami Gardens has to offer. So
Right.
you got to know your community, because when you know your community, then you can identify with your why. And when you identify with your why, you can accomplish your goal as why you were set out to be in office. It's so necessary.
Man, listen, I think we have, man, you done hit me with some heavy haymakers right here. You know, what I'll say for those that are viewers, who are not familiar with you,
Yeah,
share a little bit about how you became in this. We talked about what click, we talked about what's your why, but there's a level of engagement that turns on because now you're starting to be exposed to some things that the everyday person is not seeing because they're
yeah,
too busy working, they're too busy trying to provide, raising their kids, whatever the case may be. Being in this position and seeing some of these policies as being created from the national level, state level, and I know I really don't. I'm trying to go somewhere with this. What do you say? What do you say to our state and national leaders who are creating policies that can hinder communities, immigration, and so forth? Right? What do you say? What does the councilman say to them to say, hey, maybe we should reconsider some things,
yeah.
right? Because we're not talking about bashing anyone. We're talking about how do we take our state and national policies and say how do we can better provide for the Black community.
Well, one of the things that we have to do on all levels is, but more so what the state and our federal government has to do, that I believe is so necessary, is you have to create a space for us to talk.
Mm,
See, one of the most powerful things that a community can do is have conversation. What we're doing this morning is probably by far the most impactful thing, because we're sharing information that one would never know if you're not having conversation.
mhm,
And what decision makers are doing on our state and federal level, they're not pushing, and I'm not going to say all, but there's some that's not pushing the agenda of the people because they're not having conversation with people. Um, and I can say that because I'm a local leader, and we're your first
your front
responders.
line.
Yeah, we're your frontliners. Everybody, even if the trash can don't come pick up, they not calling the county, they calling a city.
Right.
If the insurance go up, they not calling the state to see what policies they put in place. They calling us to talk about the bills are going up. So I can say you gotta have conversation with people. You got to understand that we got to have fair immigration policies across the board, because a lot of people that's doing the work that the Americans don't want to do is people that migrated to this community. And it's imperative, and it's a lot of good work that is necessary and needed. And they're not criminals. They're not people that's bringing harm to our communities. We
Right.
got to
Right.
address that holistically. When you create policies to try to control what a woman should do with her body, well, listen, let's sit down to a few of them and see why they wanted to get an abortion, or what caused them to want to make adjustments to their body. When you
Mm,
talk about raising the retirement age, sit down with an average individual in their 60s and see how their health has declined and why they can't do what they used to do 30 years ago. When you have these conversations, then you begin to not only act with your wisdom as to how to implement the law, but then you put your heart
hard
into
to
it.
do.
And your heart has to be in public service. I ain't saying be emotional and make emotional decisions. I'm telling you to think about the people. Think about why you decided what you're going to do and the long-term effect that your decision making is going to have on the generations to come. We're living in a time where people don't have an opportunity to let their, I mean, we're living in a time where, well, prior to now, a lot of our communities and generations had been silenced. But then you got this radical group that I'm a part of, the millennials, that said, enough of it. We tired of being mistreated because of the color of our skin. So out of that, Black Lives Matters was birthed. And Black Lives Matters burst around the entire nation and the entire world to raise an awareness as to how you treat us, because we're human. And then out of that, you're gonna tell me who I'm gonna fall in love with. Out of that, the LGBTQ plus LGBTQI. I know the letters, so y'all don't come after me. But you have the LGBTQ community that said y'all can't tell us who we gonna love or what our gender is going to be or what our sex is going to be. We got to create human rights. Human rights, because we're human beings, and we got to make sure that there's equality for everyone across the board, and that's why it is so necessary to have conversation with the people. Every month I do what is considered a Table Talk Tuesday. And Table Talk Tuesday allows me to sit at the table with my residents at a local restaurant, local business here, and just have a casual conversation. I go in with no agenda. I go in with no department heads to talk about what we're doing in the city. I literally just sit there. We go to Starbucks. I buy everybody coffee or tea, and we just talk it up, because that's how you keep me informed on what are the issues are in the community. I know that we got to go, but don't get to a point where you're disconnected from the people that you was elected to serve. Always allow the people to have a seat at the table. And if they don't allow you people to have a seat at the table, bring your own chair and sit at the table and make them hear your voice.
Look, Councilman. Thank you so much. I got to ask this question. Why do you? This is my last question to you, and then I'll wrap up. Why do you feel the need to support organizations like Community-Based Connection?
Yeah. I believe it's so important to support non-for-profit organizations that's doing the work.
Mm-hmm.
Organizations that has boots on the ground, that have real results, that is making positive impacts. Because when you all win, we all win. When community based connections win, the entire region wins. Even if it made a benefit of 30 men, or if it was just 5 young people, or whatever the case may be, we win. And how we win is by supporting each other. When you're leaning, I'm going to be right there to prop you up, because you cannot lose. Because at the end of the day, what you do with the mission and the vision of this organization, and what I do within the political sector, is far greater than us. And then it's not about us. It's about the people that we were placed in this season to serve. And that's why we have to be there to support each other. So because of the work that you all do, the commitment to the community and to ensuring that we improve the quality of life holistically, is why you will continue to have my support in and out of office, in and out.
Thank you so much, Councilman. Thank you so much. I greatly appreciate it, for your service to the great city of Miami Gardens, to your service to all of Florida, because I do know you get on the road and stop in different cities to see how things are going in different counties as well. Listen, y'all, we just had a phenomenal conversation with the great Councilman. And I got to tell y'all, if you want to learn more about Community-Based Connection, please visit our website, communitybasedconnections.com. Community-based, D at the end of base, connections with an S.com. Please, ladies and gentlemen, support the great Councilman down there, who's doing a lot of great things for our community. And I got to tell y'all this: if you ever want real conversations, come join us on the C-Suite. Come join us. I invite you. Come listen, share with a friend, and let's continue to do this great, impactful work. Councilman, thank you. Appreciate
No,
your time, great brother.
thank you. I appreciate it. Anytime you need, let me know.
Yes, sir.
Take care.